Every B2B podcast sounds the same. Cookie cutter strategies, corporate buzzwords, high level theory that sounds smart but changes nothing. Meanwhile, the real game changers are out there breaking every rule in the playbook and crushing it. They're not following best practices, they're building their own path and winning in the ways that experts said wouldn't work. These are the rebels you need to hear from, the ones with tactics you can actually use tomorrow. This is Burn the Playbook. Burn everything that's holding you back. I'm Marc Crosby, and this is Burn the Playbook. I'm honored to have Petra Wagner as our guest today. Petra is a B2B sales strategist and author of the SalesBooster Framework, a sales system helping founders go from great product, no traction, to consistent revenue. With 20 plus years leading sales at Microsoft and IBM, and later buying tech as a C-level exec in a traditional enterprise, Petra brings the rare perspective of both the buyer and the seller, which I love about you. She now helps founders sell smarter with her AI coach, Petra AI, and her paid traction toolkit. Welcome, Petra.
Hello, nice to meet you.
All right. Before we start out today and hearing your journey from enterprise to how you're helping founders today, I wanted to do a quick rapid fire about Slovenia because that's where you're from and that's where you're calling from today. So I'm going to give you a few rapid fire interesting tidbits of information that I found about Slovenia. So I heard that bees are a big deal in Slovenia. True or false?
True.
And why is that?
It's historical. So basically, they produce something and they are very valuable for us. So it's a craft here, and it's a really healthy stuff. So yeah, we believe it's valuable.
Gotcha. I imagine the best honey probably comes from Slovenia too.
Exactly, not just honey, but also the products from the honey, like for the skin and everything. Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Also found out that the best skiers are from Slovenia. True or false?
Skiers. Maybe they were.
Skiers.
Skiers. They were.
Maybe.
Yeah, they were.
Okay. Not today.
Today we have Luka Doncic, Tadej Pogačar, Primož Roglic, those
Okay.
guys.
Okay.
But we have
All right.
skiers as well. Yeah, of course.
Okay. So false. Not skiing. Maybe basketball. Okay. This one was interesting. Tap water is so good you can drink it from the public fountains.
Yes, everywhere you can drink it normally. Yeah, it's drinkable.
Int- Interesting. Okay. All right. Any other fun facts that I missed?
Yeah, we are 2 million country and we have love in the name. So Slovenia is written with love. So yeah, we have mountains to ski and we have seaside. So everything packed in 2 million people.
Awesome. Hopefully I can make it there one day. All right, good stuff. And thank you for the information. So how did you get started in sales? You worked for Microsoft and IBM. So how did you start from enterprise to where you are today as far as helping founders?
So basically, I started as a student in IBM. As a coincidence, I was searching for a job being a competitive Latin American and ballroom dancer. And after my college degree, I somehow decided to start working, and we have like student work. So I started at IBM, continued there for, let's say, 8 years, and then moved to Microsoft, having different roles from, basic sellers, channel sellers, to sales lead roles, regional and of course national. And then I moved after 18 years of that. I felt that I have to empower any traditional company in Slovenia. So with the knowledge that I gained from the corporation, for the markets, from the team, from leadership and everything, that I can help traditional company in the country to grow, to modernize, to transform. So I went to Slovenian traditional company. I've been there year and a half, something like that, starting digital transformation and sales transformation of the company. And then I moved on my own. So basically, I'm now more than 2 years on my own, helping startups and tech companies with sales, a little bit of leadership, but mainly help them unpack, which seems to be complex, but in reality, it's not so complex, but it's work.
Gotcha. What is it about enterprises and their sales process that, make it complex or just bad habits that they can't seem to break?
I mean, basically, enterprise are, big companies with complex processes. They have to follow some rules, but usually it's more about the process than the outcome. Yeah, so they all focus on the methodologies, the processes, of course, the compliance, it has to be there. They also teach people on that, so upskilling people on that. And then the outcome And in our case, if we talk about sales, the buyer is a second thought. So yeah, this is something, we can take in portion to startups, but not full. And this is rigid for the enterprise. Yeah. So they are big ships. They move slow.
It is. They move slow. And I think in a lot of cases, enterprise companies, some provide training, some don't provide training. What do you find as far as just the training processes of when you're onboarding somebody that just doesn't work, as far as either Microsoft, IBM, or even the companies that you work with today? Like what's broken as far as the sales training process?
I mean, I have to say that I love IBM Sales Training School, so IBM Global Sales School. I've done it in 2006 and 7, and it helped me a lot through career. Yeah, it was meant, and I still believe probably it is. It gives you proper onboarding. Yeah, it's not about product, let's say, sheet leads and only features and functions. It's about how to, present the value, how to understand the value, how to handle the objections, and really try to understand the business processes, the business metrics, the goals of the customer. Yeah. I guess during the work, so during 7, 8 years, you receive less and less that. There are some peaks when you receive it again, but it depends from the results points of view and so on. But what I see in others, let's say big companies, and I miss is exactly that. Yeah, they prefer product sheet leads, features, functions, and everything about the product which needs to be there, and they care less about the value, for who is it, which problems we are solving, everything what we teach also startups for. So they are all in love in their product, which is fine. But what is in it for me as a buyer? So this is what I miss also in big companies in sales training. Yeah.
So for sales training, I think most maybe leaders or even companies think that, once you start a job in sales, that's when you receive sales training. And maybe occasionally after that, you receive some subsequent sales training. So should the training be the same for somebody who's in year one as a person who's in year 20? I mean, I think these days, the markets are changing, training's changing, AI is complicating at least a lot of the sales led processes. So do we train everybody the same, or is the process a little bit different for anybody based on experience? What's your approach with that?
Yeah, you punched me. Eh? It's not about, we shouldn't say experience is relevance. Yeah. So maybe it was like that in 2012. Yeah. That the people with experience um, had some advantage. But right now, it's really about relevance. And as you said, there are some AI tools, there are some new approaches, there are buyers who are more empowered, more knowledgeable. They know much more about us. And yeah, I see this when I teach, when I coach people. Actually, I was coaching IBMers in previous November. The guys and the ladies who are there for 30 years, 20 years. Yeah, done this school that I was mentioning before, but somehow there is some negative connotation about the tools and the noise around it, because it is the noise. But I still think that the relevance because of the buyer is there. So if me as experienced seller, I still need to learn. Yeah, I still need to get and understand the tools to cut through the noise, so I can be relevant for the buyer, because otherwise they don't need me. Yeah, they have everything on the internet. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's constantly evolving. And I think that it doesn't matter if you have 5 years experience or 50 years experience. You got to keep up with the times, constantly evolve, continuous improvement, keep up with what's changing, or else
And
you
why?
might get left behind.
And why is
Yeah,
that? Because the buyer, yeah, the buyer is changing. That's why. Yeah, it's not about us being obsolete. It's about how we as buyers are changing. So let's accommodate to the one we are serving. Yeah, let's serve them properly as
exactly.
sellers.
And you were a buyer before, so I would love to hear, because I love the experience of having both sides of the table. In a prior role that I had, I was on one side of the table, then I moved to the other, and it was tremendously helpful just to understand the big picture and the holistic view of how we can help each other. So if you've been on the buyer side and now you're helping sellers, what's one thing that buyers could tell sellers to stop doing today that they just constantly do, and that they, whether it's selling to them, selling features and benefits, like what's an approach that as a buyer you would like sellers to do something differently, stop doing?
Yeah, I was shocked when I was a buyer. It's hard to buy. It's really hard to buy. Although I came from, being trained as a seller how to sell, but then after 18 years, I went on the other side and I thought, oh, it's so easy to be buyer. I already somehow know what I need to buy, so I will just choose the best option, and they will
Hmm.
present me, they will find my needs, they will connect everything, and of course we have the procurement, everything is set, so yeah, it's simple, yeah, and I know what decision making process is in the company and so on and so forth. But in reality, it's far from that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Basically, the first thing was that I was shocked about the sellers, of course, because I think I know how to sell, at least I thought before. And when they come to me, they was like really presenting features and functions, and they were presenting me like I know everything. I don't. I have to fire,
Hmm.
hire, discuss with my boss. I have so many other things on my plate, and they have like, I don't know, 15 minutes with me or 1 hour with me, and they think I really know everything. So these assumptions are really bad. So they go straight to features and functions, and they gave me every time they gave me generic pitch. So yeah, it is like generic to say that, but when you come to, I don't know, I was in publishing and retail, and they come and present me how insurance works. It's the same HR solution or the same logistics solutions or whatever, but it works differently. Yeah, so
Hmm.
take time, ask questions, attach them to your solution, make case for me. Yeah, that's one thing. It's really features and functions. Then the other thing, when I was a buyer and surprised me, and I had a role to make decision. Yeah, so it's not so easy, because as you know, and I heard and I read your LinkedIn and everything. So there are between 11 and 16 decision makers. It's not one with the budget or the one above. There is really going internal politics around who will take the budget, which project will be priority, how we should make it happen. And also, if I have this project, what's the next project that I will, so how these projects connect with each other, of course, and then the procurement and compliance and everything. But also from internal politics, it's hard work. You cannot just say, okay, I will decide that, and people below you or people reporting to you will just say yes. They work there
Hmm.
for a long time, they have their experience, they will work with that tech. So you better listen to them to certain extent, or find consensus. We know this about consensus buying, and this is what sellers also need to consider. It's not, in my case, this IT guy and then the procurement maybe, but the consensus, because people now will not make decisions because we fear of, failure or messing up or whatever. And this is
Hmm.
really becoming strong in traditional. You asked me before about enterprise companies. This is strong factor. So this consensus buying. And in case of sellers, do your stakeholder mapping, understand who are champions. This is not just theory, the mapping and the stakeholder mapping and those stuff. This is real. And this is also a shock for me, or at least eye-opening, how this works in reality from the other side. So when I work with sellers right now, let's do the stakeholder mapping. Let's understand fears, hopes, desires of each persona there, the little one, the middle one, the whatever, yeah, how they interact, who are blockers, who are mobilizers. Again, I'm going into the customer challenger theory, but it's so real, you have to name them somehow. And this, let's
Exactly.
say, also the stuff that I would recommend to sellers. Yeah, do your homework. It's not one decision maker that you will find out, and the magic will happen.
No, there is no magic wand. I think that in sales, a lot of people out there, they probably sell the magic wand, but you have to understand that it's not about just a straight line from discovery to close, and there's some sort of articulate way that you need to close, and some sort of magic extroverted answer to get somebody to say yes. But it's very complicated, and I think that most of us know that. I think, and tell me if I'm right or wrong. So a lot of the cases when I ever developed like a pitch deck for a buyer, I didn't develop it for the buyer. I developed it for the entire organization based on who I thought that they were going to present that pitch deck to after I left the room. So I had slides in there for the CFO. I might have slides in there for supply chain. I might have slides for, the, procurement's boss or whoever else might be involved in the decision making process. So was that a good approach, and should others have that similar approach as far as,
Of
you know,
course.
talk about the features and the benefits at some point, but also understand what's in it for everybody else in that decision making process.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. Yeah, you have to make this double sell because, we were trained how to sell, but these decision makers were never unless they come from such environment, but they were never trained how to sell. Yeah, so we have to help them sell, and there is where come the connection. Let's say I'm mainly talking, to IT guys or to cybersecurity guys or ladies, and to procurement and so on, and those guys were never trained to sell. So they need to connect their strategy, like the company strategies is, let's say, customer experience. So they have to improve the customer experience. What does mean for IT guy? If they have some central storage, let's say, and they need to connect it to customer experience, unless they are trained or you ask them as a seller, they just need new storage because the previous one is old, it can fail, he will have a lot of problems and so on and so forth. But if you connect the dots and say, look, guy, but your central POC system will not work or something like that, and these will have a customer experience issues and, of course, the financial impacts and so on, we can connect that. Of course, you have to take care how you discuss that, not to go above them and so on, with the empathy, with the questions and so forth. But yeah, that's back to your point. We have to help them sell internally. I call it like a double sell. So you as a seller do the sell and then help them do the internal sell to the whoever is the decision makers and whatever KPIs they have. Legal has one, HR has the others, procurement, and of course the board members have some others as well. Yeah. So let's connect the dots on that pitch deck.
Exactly. And you have to do the same on your side too. I presume that you're referring to maybe something that I wrote recently as far as just doing the same process on the seller side as you do have to on the buying side. So it's double work, and you have to understand that everybody has to sign off on it at some point along the way. And speaking of that, I guess what happens when you find somebody that's not willing to sign off on it? And what if that person is maybe not like obvious, like on your decision making map? Like, how do you, I guess, prepare for that? Or what sort of, I guess, tactics would you advise people to either find that person or overcome that obstacle or prevent that from happening by maybe doing more homework up front?
Yeah, of course. I always suggest more homework, pre-work before we go there. Ask whoever you want to search internet, scrap, whatever, just to do your pre-work before. Also ask the tools like Perplexity, ChatGPT, whatever they know about you, because buyers done this homework already, mainly, yeah, 80% of them. But in terms of blockers, yeah, once are blockers that and they hate your solution or from whatever reason, advice, let them go. Yeah, let's think about others. But if there are some people that you didn't identify yet and they are not in the room, let's start with basic questions. So, dear customer, let's say that we agree now that this will solve this and this problem for you in such amount of time and will have such an impact. Who else will need to confirm that, or who else need to see that, or who else will have an opinion on that, on which people this solution will impact if you implemented it? It's like if there are some IT solutions and there is cybersecurity guys and they are not in the room, probably they will say no, it is cybersecurity risk, and you will have to identify that. The same goes with compliance risk, with GDPRs in Europe and so on. So ask questions. Who else beside you is impacted and should understand, or I should get the feedback from? Yeah, so we can work together and help you go from point A to point B.
Gotcha. And I think that that's probably a possibility is why some deals get stuck is because you probably don't ask those questions at the very beginning, as far as asking your procurement person, your buyer, or whoever you initiate contact with in the beginning, understanding maybe what that process looks like a little bit clearer in the beginning, as opposed to further that you get down the line. Because I think when you get down the line and maybe internally on their side, they already have some opinions that are being formed. And by that time, it's probably too late to start changing the minds of your objectors or people that are not on board with your product or solution or maybe your company. So just my own opinion, I think you got to start that process very early in the beginning and probably find out who those potential detractors might be before you even open up the conversation to start talking about, your business and asking those questions. I don't know. That's the approach that I've had sometimes, as far as just getting as much knowledge as I can ahead of time, before I go down that path, because it might be too late to, try to fix things down the road,
And
whatever it
offend
might be.
people on the way, huh? And offend people on the way. Who's your boss?
Exactly. Exactly. I think, down the way, at least in some commodity markets and some of the markets that I've served before, you get stuck on price. And maybe you found the same thing too in some of the enterprise deals or even founder led deals that, you help salespeople, overcome. So how do you overcome price objections? And do you address price early in the process and just tell them what it is up front, or do you wait and tell them later? But what do you do when you get stuck on a price objection?
I didn't sell value right if I come to the price objection. Yeah, I mean it's a generic answer. Yeah, we have to sell the value. So if there is no value, nobody will pay anything. But with price objection is like that. If this is the little price at the end in negotiation, there are negotiation techniques, and that's fine. But if we come to the price objections, probably they didn't see value along the way. Yeah. So of course, what I see mainly, it's not a holistic price challenge, but what I see with startups is that they forget, because they are learning on the way, that there are some other pricing issues they didn't consider. So either their sales solution and they need some, I don't know, some hardware behind, or some cloud services for this to work, or some device which they didn't ask if the customer has, or I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, some integration that is needed and they think it will just work, in enterprise company. I'm exaggerating a little bit. But in every case, there is a real life experience where something in the ecosystem brings additional costs. Yeah. And this is something that then disturb the customer, because I budget something and then along the way you come that, oh, you need to buy, this and these subscriptions along the way in order this to work. So I think this is the main problem that I see. The price per se, it's handled during the value discussion, and then it's just the negotiation based on culture that we see and based on the procurement process, which it's different in different part of the world. But yeah, I would go the basic value discussion up front. Yeah.
Gotcha. Easier said than done. I think you just have to think about these things along the way. I mean, it's just a bad habit, I think, that most people get into, as far as just selling the features and the benefits and not selling the value along the way. And whether that's your organization or support services or e-commerce solutions, supply chain, you have to kind of bring in the big picture as far as what you can deliver as far as your solution. But I think that's where a lot of people get stuck on price. Like
Yeah,
I said,
yeah, but
get,
again, they are stuck on price because they didn't unpack what value does it bring to this person, to his KPI, to his or her business. It was not unpacked because they were so eager to present features and functions of their baby. Yeah. And they didn't ask, so they didn't get answers, and they didn't
Mhm.
really connect, because if you are buying something, you always imagine how do you buy. We are all emotional buyers also in B2B. So if I will really achieve something with that, I will work on that hard in order to make this project happen. So I am a mobilizer. So you have to identify if what is in it for me, and I will be your mobilizer. Yeah.
Gotcha. Let's talk a little bit about AI and sales. Obviously, it's a hot topic that everyone wants to talk about these days. And you took the initiative to develop your own AI tool in Petra AI. So excited to unpack that a little bit, hear about how you came to the conclusion that, Petra AI was going to help others. And, maybe Petra AI can also help me with my, when I get stuck on price. Could that help me there?
Yeah, I mean, of course it can, it will coach you. Basically, this is, it's not some fancy schmancy AI tool, like startups are doing. It's really having me in your pocket. Yeah. So I work
Mm-hmm.
with sellers, with startup sellers and people who never been sellers, yeah, never trained to sell. So, it's something like sales is a craft. Yeah. So you have to work on it, you have to train it. Nobody was born seller. Yeah. Maybe for somebody is easier, but there are some basic principles. And you have to train them, like in any sports. Yeah. We started with skiers. Yeah. So they have to train.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about how I can clone myself. So how I can help more startup founders with some basic guidance questions that I see come along. So when I was doing SalesBooster Framework, there are 3 phases, nine steps, very simple for each startup, because there is a mess. They are doing ad hoc, they are running, from marketing agency to pitching to investors and so on. So I gave them the basic framework that works. And for that basic frameworks, they have to get some answers. So go out, how to talk to customers, how to talk about your value propositions, how to define ideal customer, why somebody is ideal customer, also how to handle objections, how to qualify properly, all these things that we've been doing for 20 years. I packed into Petra AI. I trained her. So I really have this tough conversation with her and people are helping me on that. So she can give you answers or help you guide. She's provocative. She really asks you. So I see founders when I work with them on longer projects, they become nervous, because I'm not
Hmm.
satisfied with first answer they gave me. I can serve everybody. Super great. Yeah. Or no, we will go to 5 countries immediately. Super great. Yeah. And she will ask you pretty much the same questions that I do, and she will also give you more answers that I can give you because it's AI, yeah, so it's based on AI, but it was trained on SalesBooster Framework, on challenger
Hmm.
sell approaches, on proper qualification, and I think for paying a sales coach per hour, when you start as a startup, you cannot afford and you would like to work in the middle of the night, in the morning, different time zones. So I think Petra
Hmm.
is perfect for that. And if you will ask her how to lose weight, she will say, no, I don't know that. Yeah, go and ask ChatGPT or whoever. Yeah, so they will give you generalistic answers. She's sales coach. Yeah.
Just a sales coach. Well, it's cool to have a 24/7 sales coach. I mean, I think that who would not want to have a 24/7 coach of anything? I mean, I think I could probably use that in my own personal life, and maybe I need some other sorts of coaches that are like that. How do you see that like Petra AI and sorts of solutions like this expanding into other parts of business? Can we replace other, I guess, people in the organization that we might need 24/7 access to? Is there like a Petra AI that we can use for like my sales manager in case I have a question, or like an operations person, or can I clone like or yeah, or maybe agents, or one of the other use cases, at least that I thought, maybe you've thought of this too, is like, at least in the United States, there's a lot of aging people that are leaving the workforce, and like all that knowledge goes out the door with them. Like if they have 40 years experience, so could we clone those people so they can kind of stay with the organization to help us out as far as all that knowledge before they leave and go play golf? I don't know. Is that something that you've thought of as far as other use cases?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking a lot about, how about AI in general. Yeah, is it a bad thing or good thing? I'm sociologist. Yeah, so I have also
Yeah.
these ethical questions and everything which goes along. So yeah, every
Mm-hmm.
invention is something that can bring positive and negative. But in case of AI, everything which is repeatable, it will be, like every invention, it was, start what was repeatable, and I think it's not much different. How we can use it, I still think, and I see this when I check the questions of people who are using Petra AI. Again, it can help you more if you know more, so it will guide you more if you ask questions that are really painful. So I always say, don't be nice with her. Yeah. Use her because it's there for you. And,
Mm-hmm.
more you will ask her tough questions, more direct answers you will receive. More generalistic you are, more generalistic your answers will be. And this is in general, I think, with AI. Yeah. So we as human, we still need to keep up on that with that, yeah? And from the sociologist perspective, our society, I believe, will divide a little bit, even bigger disruption it will be between those who improve and grow and the one left behind. So this is something we have to take care. I know it's a different topic, but you asked me about how I see AI, so I think we
Mm-hmm.
have to do something here in order to bring the whole society and to upskill as much as possible, all the generations.
It's a great question. And I think with that, how are salespeople going to use AI to screw up the buyer journey? Like, how are we just going to totally dismantle, I guess, any trust in the process by using AI, whether that's just, I don't know, automation or finding out information that is not useful or not connecting with the people in a human way? How are we going to screw it up?
Yeah, I mean, as a seller, of course, the buyers are more empowered. We have to be more empowered, and we have to be even more hyper personalized, or however we call this. We need to cut through the noise. We need to be specialists, even more, even harder. We need to know, and this segment of one, how to answer the questions in the right moment to the right, it's really, I think it's painful for sellers, yeah, because this is so, before it was like, you, when sales, sales is really long profession, yeah. When they come, they arrive to the market, and they explain, and they have knowledge, and they show, and nobody knows. Now the features, functions, everything is there. The comparison is there. Everything is there. So you really have to niche to the hyper personalized message, and this is where AI can help you prepare, and then you do your magic. So it's still a relationship, yeah, but just hyper personalized relationship, yeah. You will really know this guy or lady to whom you will sell, yeah. Otherwise
Mm-hmm.
you will be just one of them.
That's a great aspect, I think, of AI and just doing research. I think, as I mentioned maybe before, like I do a tremendous amount of research of the companies I'm trying to do business with, the people that are in there, all the stakeholders. Obviously, I think that if you're doing research today, you have an advantage because you can probably do it faster, with AI. So everybody should be able to put on a better face, so to speak, as far as knowing your customers. But I still see there's probably limitations or maybe adopting to new technologies that people still just lag behind historically. So, do you see, I guess, that opportunity to get to know your buyers better by using AI, at least just from a knowledge download perspective before we reach out to them, before we pick up the phone or before we, see them in person? I feel like it has to be a hybrid of both. It can't just be all one or the other. But I feel like with most new tools that are out there, we go completely overboard as far as just, AI everything. We're just going to AI our emails. We're going to AI our phone calls, our outreach. We're going to automate this, that, and the other. So,
No,
what do you see it as, like augmenting, or do you think we're just going to overdo it?
of course, I already see that there is people who are overdo it. Yeah, you probably receive emails which are spam, LinkedIn messaging that is, all over the place, and you see it's nothing in there, just the process flowed from a robot. So we are already doing it. There are also a lot of tech tools which are out there and are actually hurting sellers, yeah, and the sales process. And the sellers who should learn how to do it has negative connotation exactly for that, yeah. I know
Mm-hmm.
when I was trying to teach back in Microsoft, when Sales Navigator came out, and we have the digital seller empowerment or something like that, people were really defensive for that, because it was like everything are now influencers and you are offensive sending DM. So there are some cultural things that needs to go on, and there are some barriers that we are not allowed to cross, at least yet, in different
Mm-hmm.
cultures. But there are still some stuff that we have to progress as sellers, yeah. So my job when I coach, I need to move some traditional sellers into directions to use new tools, but on the other side I have to unteach someone. It's not just, the tech will do everything and you don't need to sell. Wrong. The basic craft of selling you still have to learn, yeah, the basic principle of social interaction, with tech or without tech.
How do you teach founders and sales as far as differentiation? From my perspective, it's, number one, as far as what you should lead with before you even start talking about features and benefits. How do you weave that into Petra AI, Sales Booster? Is that something that's a common topic around your sales training?
Yeah, yeah, of course, the differentiation is some of the key factors of value proposition. So how you differentiate to the manual tunes, to the competition, to the existing stuff, to status quo, let's say, or doing nothing, and of course to find your own niche, why you will bring value. And sometimes you bring value because there are all tech solutions, yeah. So like Petra AI or some other sales coach or ChatGPT, you know you can do it, yeah. So what's the differentiator is like how I will do it, how I will help you connect the dots, how I will do the package, or maybe it's the language, sometimes it's the availability. So let's find why people cannot live without your solution. Let's find out what is a little bit different. So it's a process, but it doesn't need to be unique solution. It has to be unique service that you are providing, yeah, not just feature and functions. Unique problem that you solve on a unique way, not just the problem, on a unique way, yeah, or affordable way, or I don't know, the language way.
Mm-hmm. But it starts with asking questions,
Yeah,
right? I mean, you have to figure out, which one of those is going to be the fit or a combination of all of them. But you just have to ask questions and ask more questions until you feel tired of asking questions. So at least you can get all the answers. I know one of the best sales trainings that I ever did a long time ago. I think we had to sit there and ask questions for like 45 minutes to the person on the other side of the table, and it was something that was very unnatural. But the more you do it, the more you learn, the more comfortable you get asking more questions, to the point of where, I don't know, for me, I thought it was very effective. But I think it's good training that most people don't do, which is asking question after question after question.
yeah, and you can eliminate that by pre-work. Yeah, you can use the tech that is available to get answers before, to ask all the tools that are available, and then you can ask the relevant questions that you didn't get answers in your pre-work to the customer. Yeah, so they will not be, they will not hate you for, you just ask questions. So prepare yourself, do your homework. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. It has to be like most things. It has to be a hybrid of both, a good mix. And I think from a sociologist standpoint or just a human standpoint, you want to ask questions so the other person feels like you're interested in learning more about them and their business and how you're solving their problems. So I don't know. Like anything else, it's a balance, right?
It's a balance. Exactly.
All right, let's move to our most favorite segment, Burn It or Build It, at least my favorite segment in the household here. This is a rapid fire segment as far as the hot takes and sales and marketing. So we're just going to go through like 10 things and kind of get your perspective on what you think we should burn and what do you think we should build. So we will start with industry conferences. Burn it or build it?
Build it, yeah, but get ready before, not just go there.
It's kind of like sales, right? You do some prep, understand like why you're going to go there. What people do you want
to meet and so on.
A lot of people show up just to show up and, hand out pens. I don't know. AI outbound at scale.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it as you imagine. Yeah, I would say burn it because, it's automated, it's not personalized, and, it's not there yet. So no, quality beats quantity.
Burn it. All right. What about gated content? So content that's on a website, you might have to pay for it, put in an email address. Should it be gated, burn it, or build it?
I think it's a little bit outdated yet. It depends on the business, but overall, in generic, I would say burn it because, you can receive value for free and then do the funnel and, build it on pre-qualify. I call this, the qualification. Somebody, they will come to you. Yeah, they will learn and yeah, burn it.
Burn it. Got it. Some people say that founders make the best sales hires. Burn it or build it?
Build it. For early stage founders, yeah, needs to be sellers because they understand the value, they know why they build it, and somebody else cannot say the value how they, that they can. Yeah, so they have to. I believe that founder-led sales is the most important step. Yeah, so yeah, build it.
Gotcha. Build it. Official. Build it. What about cold calling?
Yeah, I know that people don't like it, but warming up. Yeah, so do the pre-work and then still call. I wouldn't burn it. I would burn the automated cold calling, yeah, with the guy hello and no pre-work, of course. But if you do your targeting ICP and warming up and something before, if the process is there, I would go to calling. Is it still cold calling or is it just warm calling?
Warm calling. We'll go with no decision on that one.
Okay.
So it depends.
Okay, it depends. It depends. This is the consultant answers, huh? It depends.
Gotcha. It depends. Exactly. Some people say that website is your top salesperson. Burn it or build it?
Build it. Yeah, there is the value that people see and go and check.
Gotcha. And on these websites, number 7, public pricing on your website. It depends as far as your business, of course, but is it better to have just that transparency up front or not?
Yeah, if you have a product to sell, then have transparency. If everything is customizable, then obviously you cannot have it. Yeah.
Okay. Founder origin stories. So in a lot of cases, whether you're founder led, we're talking about that we built it in a garage and look at us now. Or I think even in some legacy companies that I came from, we're 150 years old. Let's talk about our origin story from 1802. Burn it or build it.
When you say it like that, then burn it. But in reality, build founder story. Just don't go into, the whole emotion and influencer stuff. It's not about, again, it's not about you as a founder. It's about the problem that you're solving. So, yeah.
Exactly. So maybe pare it down a little bit, just not 5 slides
Make it
about
relevant,
your origin story.
It's not just about you.
Okay. Webinars for lead gen.
Burn it. I think this is a little bit, it was too much. And also in COVID, it was, really important. And now it's so many other stuff that unless it's really targeted and you really have something to say, in general, if we would have a webinar about how to talk to buyers nowadays, I don't think anybody will join us. So beside our friends, burn it.
Gotcha. I think burning is leading this. Okay. Sales and marketing, combine those to make one RevOps leader. Most people say sales and marketing are not aligned. So do we combine it into one?
Yeah, build it. Yeah, I was working in the company being on the buyer side. I need this as one. People are so disconnected and, we sellers never liked marketers, but we are one. So yeah, let's have end-to-end process. Let's build it. Yeah, smarketing. Nice. Potters called it smarketing. I read in a book.
Okay, very cool. Nice. Well, that's the finale there for Burn It or Build It. I think that's a good one to end on. And as far as ending on, one final thought from you, as far as just one takeaway that I'm a vice president of sales in my car listening to this podcast and I want to implement something today, what would you advise to them as far as something that they can help their team roll out to be better at sales?
Yeah, I thought this was more common than I see it now in reality. But actually introduce like deal review power hour, not like just pipe deal review or deal inspection, but this critical thinking, collaborative selling, because we learn from each other and it will sync your team, also marketing and sales, and it will focus your sellers. So you can build on that to coach. So I would go with the kind of sales cadence. It's not just from the corporation stuff, but I really see it work. Yeah, it's deal review power hour. And I see this with startups with whom I work like on a regular basis. We need to go through pipe because they believe something is relevant. It's not, they didn't do the qualifying. They are waiting, and it doesn't really matter if you are long-time sellers. I still have to go through my deals. Yeah, I have to requalify. Yeah, of course, I'm on my own. But basically, yeah, if I would be a VP of big or small organization or a startup, do deal review power hour, yeah, and coach and learn from each other. It will help you build your playbook and be more efficient on the field later on.
Love it. Deal review power hour. You heard it here first on Burn the Playbook in order to build the playbook. All right. Thank you, Petra.
Welcome.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
That's how you burn the playbook. If this conversation fired you up, don't let it in here. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Share this episode with someone who's tired of playing by the old rules. And if you're ready to challenge your own sales approach, let's connect. Find me on LinkedIn at Marc Crosby or head to digitalrebelsconsulting.com to see how we help B2B teams win differently. Until next week, keep burning what's not working and keep building what is.